Hey viewers, this is Random Stuff with AlexHughes, and today I wanted to talk about beating it up, or in a more what I would say less more passive terms, just being persistent about your goals. And so the idea is about having a vision in mind of what you want to accomplish, and then just keep going at it each and every day, just thinking like I'm going to get there, no matter what it takes. Just have that goal in mind at the end and focus on that long term goal. And the reason for this is because of persistence, determination, um, and this idea that it's like if it's something you really want, then you got to keep working on it every single day. And there's of course going to be people who doubt you, the haters out there, as they say, the trolls on the internet. But as long as you have that goal in mind, they can't stop you. They're gonna fade away, because all at the end of the tunnel, that's where you want to be. And so just keep working on it. Maybe it's a career goal, maybe it's something you want to do in the community, maybe it's something that you believe in. There's of course going to be people who disagree with you, but doesn't mean they're right. But just stay focused on what you want to accomplish. And so this is something that I've experienced before, especially with getting over panic attacks and anxiety. This idea where I didn't think I could do it. I've lived my whole life being anxious about one thing to the next, and it didn't just start at one point. I've had anxiety, I think, ever since I was very young. It used to be about being left at school, or when would I get picked up, or going to school, and that was before even fifth grade. That was fourth grade, third grade, and back. And so this idea was I couldn't get over my anxiety because it was too strong. Was always there, and you hear people say, "Oh, this is a chronic condition, so you can expect to live with it for the rest of your life." However, I didn't want to believe that, and I wanted to find a way for me to get on the other side of anxiety. And so even though it was hard for me and hard to believe that this was possible, considering that I've lived my entire life in this anxious state of mind, I visioned that it would happen at the end of the tunnel. And here I am, over 3 years later, and, I've gotten rid of the debilitating panic attacks. I can live a normal life. And, of course, there's still things that get stuck in my head sometimes, but, with time, it eventually passes. And so this also happened with other things, for example, with scholarships. I was like the last year of high school, and I was wondering, how am I going to pay for school? Because I had saved up a little bit, but that wasn't going to be enough to cover the university tuition anyways. And so what I did was I worked very hard each month trying to look for scholarships, FastWeb, Unigo, College Greenlight. And whether I was at school or at home, I would devote hours to filling out these application forms, to filling out these not resumes, filling out these essays. And I would just go at it every single month. And I think in addition to that, I also did a lot of community service work. So combining those two things together, I think really set that into the universe that, this is what I want to envision in my life. And by the end of the year, I got a handful of scholarships, and that was able to set me up for a first year over at Cal State San Marcos. And another example, more recently, has been this idea of really just catching up on things. So, I have this goal where, there was a lot of things where I left to the side, which I've discussed before, over the summer. This idea of, I don't have a lot of time, or, my time is taken by homework, by community service. What am I leaving behind? And so I spent so much, I'd say within the last maybe almost a year now, I've basically spent the time to focus on these things, these hobbies, these, maybe something to read, maybe it's projects that I've worked on, and so I've been focusing on that. Here I am, and I can look back and like, wow, I've accomplished a lot. I've accomplished a lot of things where I've said I would accomplish many years. It took me. Maybe it was a book I said I would read. Maybe it was puzzles that I said I would finish. Maybe it was music that I was thinking about playing or recording. Maybe it was artwork that I was thinking about creating. Maybe it was places I wanted to travel. And so the idea was to not add more stuff to an already full cart. So think about, you go to the grocery store, you're given a cart. How much are you going to fill up with it? If it's already brimming to the top, then you probably shouldn't put more things on top of it. And so that's the way I was feeling. So it's this idea that you have a long-term goal. There's going to be these short-term stressors. Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's your own ego, or maybe it's your own fear and anxiety telling you that, hey, this is gonna work. This is a pipe dream. It's impossible. Or maybe it's people on the outside, right? People who don't believe that's gonna happen, or people who say negative things to you because they want to put you down and they want to see that it doesn't actuate, because that would disrupt their sense of reality. But the reality is that there is a truth out there, that there is a right path to follow, and we just need to, go to that path. And so some of our personal goals might not be what everyone wants to see. Maybe they want, like, let's say I want to become a marketer. Maybe someone wants me to become a doctor or a lawyer. But, this is the path that I was thinking about career-wise. And so the idea is to be persistent about your goals and to not give up easily. Because, if you give up, then it's not going to actuate into reality. And so the idea is to think about the long-term goal. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And then put your actions and your focus towards that, so that way, boom, you get there. So this is Random Stuff with Alex Hughes, signing off. Have a great day.